What is up, guys? Thank you so much for stopping by, and we've got basically we'll call it a viewer requested video, but also one that I kind of want to do here. As you can see by the title, yeah, we're going to talk about the Ghostbusters, I have to use that in quotes, 2016 reboot, not really a remake, but kind of, not really a sequel, just kind of like its own thing. A lot of you have asked me to kind of comment on this and just tell you what I think about it, and since I'd been so vocal about my disapproval, I guess you could say, the way things were going between the trailers and the comments and everything from the director and the actors in the movie and everything, it just kind of seemed to start like it was like just going downhill, and it didn't seem like this was headed in the direction that it needed to be to make at least what I feel is a good Ghostbusters movie. It just seemed to be kind of heading down a really dark road that just wasn't in the universe, excuse me, that Ghostbusters should be in. Just my opinion as a lifelong fan. I will never forget the first time I saw the first Ghostbusters movie. It was freaking amazing. I didn't get to see it in the theater. I was old enough at the time. I was about 5 when it came out, but my first experience with it was when it came out on VHS, and we went down to our local video store and rented it. Man, it just freaking blew my mind about how good it was. It's just so amazing, and it just even up to today, the movie still holds up. I actually saw it in the theater for the first time just about a month or so ago. My sister and I went to see it because we're both Ghostbusters fans. And, I just wanted to see what it's like to see it on the big screen. And it still holds up, man. Like, even by today's standards. I mean, even though the jokes and the dialogue, and I know that it's coming, I've seen the movie like 50,000 times, like I know it's coming, and it's still funny. Like, it's still, one of the best written comedies, at least I think, at the very least of the 80s, but maybe even all time. Ghostbusters, as far as its cultural significance, I would say is in the top 20 films ever made. I mean, it's, if you ask me, it's up there with like Gone with the Wind and Citizen Kane and King Kong and things like that, as far as like the cultural impact. Star Wars, The Matrix, things like that. The movies that really changed the game, changed movies and changed pop culture and changed American culture, much for the better. And there's just, for the longest time, and again, I've said this 100 times, like, why would you try and remake Ghostbusters, or why would you try and reboot it? Like, you're never going to make a better movie than that. You just can't do it. I mean, it's like trying to remake Jaws, or The Exorcist, or Jurassic Park, the first one. You're never gonna capture that lightning in a bottle. I mean, you can't. Like, no one really knows like why things just kind of come together, and it just blows up, and becomes like this cultural phenomenon. Like, no one really has figured out the formula for that, because if they did, they'd make nothing but successful movies. There have been movies that everyone thought would be successful but just weren't, and movies that people didn't think much of that just blew up, and became like its own thing. Like Deadpool, for example. Like, everyone thought, like, yeah, it's probably gonna be okay, might do okay, and that thing just fucking was huge. I kind of knew it would be, just based on the way things were going. I was like, dude, Deadpool is gonna make bank. And I hit it right on the head with that one. Not that I'm like a movie clairvoyant or anything. I just kind of had a feeling that one was gonna crush it. And, at least in my opinion, they did. Deadpool, fucking amazing, made a shitload of money. Proved once and for all that you can make an R-rated comic book movie that does make a crap load of money. So, back to the subject. Ghostbusters 2016. I just want to say, for the record, I did not have to pay to go see this. And to be completely honest, if I did, I would not have gone to see it. Someone didn't pay for me, so I wasn't contributing to the movie in any way. I basically just have a friendship with a local mom and pop theater near me, and I do some work for them and things, and they basically just let me watch whatever movies I want for free. And I actually brought my buddy Tommy the Icy One with me, because he's a lifelong Ghostbusters fan. Even though he's not really an 80s kid, which is really strange to me. He was like 1 or like 2 when that movie came out, so... Actually, no, fuck, he hadn't even been born yet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever. Tommy's a legit Ghostbusters fan. He fucking loves that shit just as much as I do. So he's like, yeah, let's go see it. So we get in there, and I'll be honest with you guys, like I'm not going in there with the hate, really. Like, I'm trying to just be like, look, I'm not gonna expect much because I haven't seen much. So maybe there'll be something, you know, in it I like, but you know, maybe it'll be like passable, but I won't be thrilled. So the bar for me was already set. Like, sorry, I've got an itch in my eye here. God, Jesus, it's like itching all over the place here. The bar for me, like going into this, was already really low. So it really wasn't going to take much to impress me at this point, just because I wasn't expecting much. You know, it wasn't like going into Avatar or something like that, where you're just expecting to have your mind fucking blown. Like, this was just like, you know, we'll see. Guys, this movie was fucking horrible. I don't know how else to describe this other than a train wreck where both trains are carrying different types of animal shit crash into each other. I'm not being funny right now. I don't think that I have ever wanted to leave a movie theater so badly in the first 10 minutes than I did with this. And I can't objectively say that this was completely because, or not because, of the first movie existing, you know, because this movie is just going to be standing in its shadow, no matter how you slice it. I'd like to think that mostly not. You know, I knew it wasn't going to live up to the original Ghostbusters, so I kind of, that was out of my brain. I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, the second Ghostbusters didn't live up to the first Ghostbusters, although it was an okay movie. So I wasn't expecting that, but guys, this movie was basically passive-aggressive feminism, the movie. Paul Feig, in my opinion, when you look at his track record in cinema, is basically a social justice warrior in a director's chair. All this guy does is basically satirize movies made for men and makes them for women. When you look at, like, Spy, you know, he's basically spoofing James Bond, a male-dominated franchise. When you look at Bridesmaids, he's basically spoofing The Hangover. Yeah, I mean, that's really all he does. So I don't know why anyone thought that putting this guy in charge of, like, a juggernaut like Ghostbusters would be in any way a good idea. I think that that's absolutely insane. I mean, you put J.J. Abrams or somebody like that in charge of Ghostbusters, you know? Like, somebody at that fucking, or Guillermo del Toro or something, although he would make a really fucking dark Ghostbusters, which would actually be kind of awesome. But, you know, you put a fucking imaginative genius behind the helm to make something like a Ghostbusters. If you're going to reimagine it or do whatever, you put a guy who's known for creativity. Paul Feig is a satirist. A satirist doesn't have any creativity because their entire career is based on basically plagiarizing other people. I'm not saying that there isn't a place for satire, and some satires can actually be really awesome, like the first Scary Movie. Half of Mel Brooks' movies, you know, for example, are satires. Like Spaceballs, that's a fucking amazing movie. Because Mel Brooks is an extremely talented guy. Like, he's, like, in my opinion, like the one guy who's made a real career out of satire and just crushed it almost every single time. But, guys, the dialogue was absolutely atrocious. I mean, basically what you saw in the trailer as far as the dialogue, stretch that out to almost a 2-hour movie, and that's what you get in the movie. It was that fucking bad. It really was. And I'd also like to point out a glaring hypocrisy on the fault of the stars of this movie and the director of this movie, who have all been so vocal about the fact that they're being attacked because it's all about women and everything like that. You know, if it was guys in the role, you guys wouldn't be saying anything. This is misogyny and blah, 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 blah. Well, I got news for you, ladies. Check your shit before you say anything else, because as a man, I'm not going to go on a crybaby rant here and say that this, like, offended me to my fucking core or anything like that, but I did notice a little bit of a pattern in this movie, that every man, every person with a penis that I know of in this movie was either an asshole, an idiot, or a villain. there were no good men in this movie. Not one. I mean, there was one man who was basically like on the good side of things. That would be Thor, you know, Chris Hemsworth. And he was a complete fucking moron. You know, not Chris Hemsworth, but the character he was playing was basically a bimbo. You know, and for the record, he was actually kind of funny. Like, I mean, he didn't slay me in my seat or anything like that, but the couple times I did laugh was because of him. I had no idea that Chris Hemsworth had any comedic talent or anything, but he's got some potential as a comedy actor, actually. He was really, really funny. I guess because he's playing something that's so removed from everything else he plays, where he's, you know, always playing like this, you know, macho freaking hero and everything. In this, he's like this fucking stupid New York bimbo hipster. And he's just dumber than a bag of rocks. And he kind of plays it to a T. But back to the ladies and the director. Yeah, you really need to check your shit on this one, because if you're gonna cry foul about a bunch of people bullying you about this movie being about men, or not being about men rather, maybe you shouldn't make every man in it a fucking idiot or an asshole. You're basically, I don't think this is a fucking coincidence, not to mention with the so obvious commentary that they do, because there's their video of their ghost encounter gets out on the internet, and people are just like, you know, like, bitches ain't gonna catch no ghost, and they're running through every stupid social fucking dogmatic bullshit about the internet and about YouTube. That, you know, anyone who comments on the YouTube video is either a fucking moron, you know, living in his mom's basement and shit like that. Like, ladies, wake the fuck up. Some of us are actually pretty fucking successful people. Some of us are actually pretty smart and educated people. There are a lot of dumbasses out there on YouTube, don't get me wrong. I'm on YouTube. I know first fucking hand there's a lot of idiots out there. But painting with a broad stroke like that, basically saying that, oh, you know, you're leaving comments like that, you're a fucking idiot. That's basically no different than someone saying, you know, this movie sucks because you're fucking women. It's discrimination. It's fucking, it's Hippocratic, you know, hypocritical rather. And Hippocratic, yeah, they're not taking the medical oath. Hypocritical discrimination, at best. So, ladies, Paul Feig, everyone, the internet, yeah. This wasn't really about proving myself right. Honestly, there was a little part of me inside that was hoping I was wrong. That maybe this would at least be salvageable. This movie is a steaming pile of dog shit that should never have been made. Ever. There is no need or reason for this movie to be made. There was so many things about this that were wrong and stupid and cliche and just every reason that you wouldn't want a female-oriented Ghostbusters, they basically nailed it. And what's worse is, they're always talking shit about guy humor, you know, toilet humor, you know, we'll call it low humor. Guys, in the first, I don't know, 15 minutes of this movie, there's a fucking queef joke, and it's not coming from a man. It's coming from the girls, and the girls laugh at it. Which is fine, that doesn't bother me, you know, I don't mind toilet humor, but it's like, if you're gonna throw fucking shots at us, you know, guys, for having base humor, check your shit, ladies. Seriously. I mean, you're just... I need to hand you another shovel, because that fucking hole you're digging, it ain't getting no... It's getting deeper by the second here. So, guys, I'm not a professional movie critic whatsoever. This is just one guy with an opinion, a guy with a love for the original Ghostbusters, a guy with a love for movies in general. And I don't understand how anyone who really loved the original movie could like this. I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm not saying your opinion's wrong if you love both movies. If you do, that's fine. This is coming from the host of Dirt Flicks here, so bad movies are kind of my thing. I'd like to think I'm kind of an expert on shitty cinema, because I kind of embrace it. This wasn't one of those movies that's like so bad it's good. This movie was just plain fucking bad. I don't know how else to describe it. There was, other than Chris Hemsworth making me laugh a couple times, the plot was an absolute fucking mess. It almost seemed like they shot things just for the hell of it and stuffed it in there that really had nothing to do with the plot. When they see their first ghost, they're running outside and jumping up and down like a bunch of fucking 5-year-old girls. like, we saw a ghost! Yay! And I'm like, this is fucking retarded. My God. And they're just playing to every fucking stereotype. It's almost like they rewrote the script because of the internet hate that they got to try and validate themselves. Like, Melissa McCarthy coming in front of the cameras. We're scientists, and we just want to help. Where's the craft services table? Dog shit. Dog shit. I am never going to watch this movie ever again. You would have to pay me an incredible amount of money to even get me to consider it. As a matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, this movie does not exist. It sure as hell doesn't exist to me in Ghostbusters canon. And Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson. I can't cast this on Harold Ramis because he's no longer with us, although he does sort of appear in the movie. They better have paid you guys a shitload of money to appear in this. Because if any of you think for a second that this was doing anything to be a credit to the Ghostbusters legacy, you are sorely mistaken. Fuck this movie. That's all I've got.